Nebraska and Dylan Raiola both needed a fresh start. Lincoln, Neb, something to know about the state of Nebraska, its natives, adoptees, and the football program that weighs heavily in defining it. Corn slander is out of bounds. In fact, for an outsider to invoke corn in any context aside from farming is a shot across the bow. Advertisement As preseason camps opened across college football. A simple, perhaps innocent, and faraway comment offered another bit of evidence that Nebraska could be better positioned without its former five-star quarterback back for a third season. Dylan Raiola is, of course, an outsider now, despite his ties to Nebraska and the 2 years he spent as the face of Matt Rhule's football program.
So why is everyone suddenly talking about GLP-1?
It's the hormone that helps control cravings, blood sugar, and appetite. Basically, it tells your brain you're full.
Most GLP-1 supplements out there are actually cinnamon or turmeric in a capsule,
Which don't actually support GLP-1.
Edavita GLP-1 is different. It's the first capsule with Akkermansia, a gut bacteria linked to GLP-1 release.
Plus, berberine, green tea, grapeseed, hibiscus, and prebiotics to feed the good bacteria.
Scan the QR code now or visit grabdeal.us/7 to explore the details.
He left last year after guiding the Huskers to 6 wins and nearly a 7th against USC in 9 games. Raiola transferred to Oregon, where he's set to serve as an understudy behind Heisman Trophy candidate Dante Moore as part of a national championship-caliber roster. This week in Eugene, Raiola was asked by a reporter about the differences between his old school and his new one. "It's definitely been a transition," Raiola said. "I'll start with the landscape of outside. There's mountains and trees, and I love the nature." Raiola went for the low-hanging fruit. Only he knows if the words were laced with some condescension. I don't know him to ever talk down to friends or foes. Otherwise, he was gracious toward Nebraska and said nothing, really. That's even debatable, acknowledging Oregon has more talent and saying he learned a lot from his old coaches and teammates. But he lived in Lincoln long enough to understand what might get under the skin of his old neighbors. Yes, many Nebraskans are sensitive to the notion that their state is nothing but a bunch of farmland. Images of cornstalks lean into a stereotype that fails to resonate with some 65% of the state's population living in and around urban Omaha and Lincoln. It's a buzzword, an easy way to rile folks up, and psychologically, a complicated topic. This year, the University of Nebraska planted corn as a central element among the landscaping outside of the Osborne Legacy Complex that headquarters the football team. That's a nod to the agricultural identity of the state and the famous Cornhuskers moniker. By contrast, Raiola's words set off a mini firestorm. Advertisement It matters because Raiola moved 1,500 miles away and he can't stop making waves. Somehow, he's got people sweating over silly, unimportant issues. At Nebraska, Raiola was a lightning rod, in much the way that he may not have intended to cause a stir with his answer to the question about Nebraska. It just happened. Maybe that's a commentary on the media culture or fan attitudes toward celebrity players in a market that's starved for a winning football team. Regardless, no one just imagined for 2 years that the hyperfocus on Raiola at times sucked air out of the room. Nebraska's fortunes were tied tightly to him. When Raiola grew hesitant to take risks within the offense, Nebraska paid the price. When he got hurt, Nebraska's shot to reach 9 wins last year disappeared. The reliance on a young QB was not entirely healthy. The split was best for him and for the Huskers. 8 months after the transfer portal whirled, Nebraska found a quarterback who seems averse to the spotlight off the field. That is, Anthony Colandrea was almost invisible in Lincoln during the offseason. He could walk through downtown today without attracting attention. On the field, Colandrea was the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year in 2025 at UNLV, throwing for 3,459 yards and rushing for 649. Whether that production carries over to the Big Ten remains to be seen, but nationally, Colandrea begins in the same place as Raiola a year ago, coming in at no. He's checking all the boxes, offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen said after 2 practices. The new quarterback is loud in practice, according to wide receiver Isaiah Hunter, and he's personable enough to win over a fellow newcomer, left guard Paul Mubinga said, with a word of reassurance in the huddle. Rhule and his staff need players up and down the lineup to feel empowered. So far, Colandrea provides them with the space to operate. Advertisement Colandrea answered questions from the media on Tuesday. He said nothing to generate a headline. Nebraska fans will get to know Colandrea when he's running the offense. After 3 seasons as a starting QB, Colandrea appears to come equipped with a strategy that works best for Nebraska right now. Not last year and possibly not a year or two down the road. In a few months, Tree Taylor, the 5-star QB in waiting, is scheduled to join the Huskers. If this fall goes somewhat as planned, Nebraska will be better prepared for Taylor's arrival because it navigated the Raiola experience and whatever it is that Colandrea cooks up in 2026. Perhaps a dish that goes well with corn.